Last month, Ronnie Kayondo, Kampala Eagles Rugby Club's fly half, died after undergoing surgery for a head injury he had sustained during his team's game against the Toyota Buffaloes in the men's Nile Special Uganda Rugby Premiership. Dr. Tony Stone Luja, an anesthesiologist and critical care intensivist at Mulago National Referral Hospital, says the delays in offering Kayondo the necessary surgery could have led to his death.
The impact of the injury, which was bleeding in the brain. Now, when the brain swells, you have to operate it within 6 to 8 hours from the time of injury. So, I think there were some few delays here and there, and somebody had, I think, an Ebola patient, so they delayed in the ambulance. The essence of timely interventions is that you have to avoid herniation, because if the brain herniates downwards, it squeezes the medulla oblongata.
Dr. Luja is a sports administrator and former rugby player. He's also the chairman of Kampala Old Boys Rugby Football Club.
So the first aid team did the first aid, but he did not respond at all from the time of the collision, which is significantly pointing to very severe injury. Sometimes the players wake up, respond, this one didn't.
While some injuries, especially those to the vital organs of the body, are life-threatening, some, like Pauline Bankabwire's anterior cruciate ligament injury, only need proper surgery and recovery time. The 21-year-old rugby player with Nile Rapids Rugby Club in Jinja City finds herself in a painful battle, not against opponents on the field, but against an injury that threatens to derail her promising career of 4 years.
I got the injury when we were playing Stone City Sevens. We came as an invitational team. They led Ukraine Sevens. We played, so I was trying to go into contact. Then I slid. I thought it was a minor injury, but it took me some time.
Bankabwire's coach asked her to step out of the game, though. Despite her discomfort, after some time, she returned to the field in the Uganda Cup.
Someone fell on me. It just became worse. So I came back because the injury. By then I was playing for the club. The injury now, it was for the club.
An MRI scan revealed that the player had a posterior cruciate ligament and an anterior cruciate ligament injury that needed surgery, estimated at 15 million shillings. However, KOSU offered to perform the procedure at a reduced cost of 3 million shillings.
So the knees have ligaments that strengthen them, and when they get turned wrongly, they tear. So there are two ligaments, anterior and posterior. So when that posterior ligament is torn, you cannot really function anymore because the knee is not as stable. They're not life-threatening, but they're also career-threatening. So she needs to have that surgery as soon as possible.
Nowadays, Bankabwire walks with a painful limb, struggling to raise funds for the crucial surgery.
So if we are hosting games at home, we have a small bucket having my poster. So we move around, people throw in whatever they have. Then at the end of the day, we count. Then he goes and keeps the money. Just like that, we add on what we have.
Injuries in sports go beyond sidelining athletes. They take a heavy toll on mental health as well. However, some injuries are stepping stones to remarkable comebacks, as happened with Jude Wakayanga. The rugby player suffered a sunken fracture on his head and internal bleeding after colliding with a teammate in March 2023.
I was feeling I could continue on pitch playing, but the doctor advised and insisted that, you know what, first come off, we check you further.
Wakayanga, who is also a dentist, adds that a scan revealed that he had internal bleeding in his head and he needed immediate surgery.
The medics that we have on the rugby pitch side are trained to identify certain signs that me as a player at that particular point on pitch with the adrenaline, with what, I cannot recognize.
The surgical procedure was successful and Wakayanga recovered in 6 months and was clear to play again. However, he decided to transition into coaching, and today he is the head coach of Rams Rugby Club. Dr. Luja explains that some injuries like ACL tears can be rehabilitated with surgery, while others such as neck dislocations can lead to paralysis or even death.
There is the Kenyan rugby captain, I think, who died 10 years ago because she got a dislocation of her neck bone after she collided with one of our rugby ladies during the Elbon Cup. So those ones leave you paralyzed because once the spinal cord sits delicately behind the bones of the vertebral canal. So if those bones impinge on it and it lacerates it, you paralyze downwards.
He believes that while injuries in contact sports are unavoidable, understanding the causes and implementing preventive measures can reduce the risk and severity. Rugby is one of the most organized sports when it comes to medical preparedness for any kind of injury. Each team must have a medical officer, and he or she should be available on game day.
Most insurance service providers in Uganda are shying away from rugby. They claim they are yet to develop a policy that can accommodate in rugby because they term it as an extreme sport.
Dr. Luja says the only way to get around the lack of insurance policies for rugby players is to pursue partnerships between the clubs and some health facilities.
And part of the big expense of clubs is already in transport refunds, other administrative costs outside medical. So medical costs are poorly planned for or never planned for, but are a big cost to clubs.
For now, though financial constraints stand between Bankabwire and her dream to play for the country, she wears a brace and goes for physiotherapy twice a week. Until insurance companies can come up with a policy that takes care of contact sports injuries for some players, campaigns are held in the rugby fraternity and medical society to raise funds for surgery.